What's going on, Crypto Paradise fam? Nate back with another interview, bringing you the hottest projects with the coolest founders. And today is no exception, as joining me is one of the founders of one of the most ingenious projects I've come across in a long time, is the man, the myth, the absolute legend, Daryl from Crypto Bags. Daryl, welcome to Crypto Paradise. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, doing great. Thanks for having me here and excited to get involved and yeah, have a chat about it all.
Absolutely. I understand you're enjoying a little paradise of your own, traveling around Europe right now.
Yes, yeah, we've taken a week out and we're down in the south of France where it's pretty
Oh,
much
beautiful.
bliss, to be honest with you. Nice 28
Yeah.
degrees, nice hot days, cool evenings, and sailing around a bit and yeah, just having a bit of family time.
It absolutely
Lo-
sounds like
Love it.
paradise. Very good.
Yeah,
Cool,
very
man.
happy man.
Well, thank you for joining us. We had a chance to meet at NFT Lisbon or NFC Lisbon. I had a great opportunity to interview John Karp, the founder, actually earlier today. So looking forward to that interview coming out
Oh,
soon.
nice.
But that's where we were able to connect, and you worked with us as part of the Ordinals conference there with Crypto Bags. I know it's not Crypto Bags is not your first venture into Web3. So why don't we start? Tell us a bit about yourself, your journey getting into crypto, and what brought you to where you are today with Crypto Bags.
Yeah, perfect. I'll keep it short. So basically, my brother and I, based actually out in the Caribbean. We've been sort of founded our own companies there, real estate, insurance, finance, and the island is really quite a hub for crypto. Always has been since quite the early days of Bitcoin. And like everyone, we had one of those friends and colleagues who were always banging on about it and saying, you've got to get involved, got to get involved. And I think we ignored them like most did for a while, and then I locked myself away in my apartment. I said, I'm not coming out until I understand this. It was a long weekend, and I was like, I've got nothing to do. I'm going to just get involved. So literally, it took me a few days just to really like sink in and fall in love with it. And when I understood the kind of concept of digital scarcity, I was completely blown away. I got on the phone to my brother, who we invest in everything together, and said, this is really something we should be getting involved in. This is it's a paradigm shift. So it's just digital scarcity. Bitcoin is the creator of digital scarcity. And then since then, we looked at it quite seriously. We started investing Bitcoin, Ethereum at that time. There weren't a lot of options when it came to altcoins, but we went heavily into sort of VeChain and Cardano. We caught the launch of that. Um, we were at the Consensus NYC party for Bitcoin's first $20,000 mark. It was absolute bananas. Um, and we fell in love with the space. We just thought this is where we should be. And we still have our other businesses operating, but we put a lot of focus into sort of blockchain space. And then fast forward a few years, we sort of sat on the sidelines and watched and learned, how to get involved and what suited us. And I think it was 2020, I launched my first blockchain related company called the Bitcoin Movement, which essentially is a art apparel platform dedicated to the creation of collections around the brand of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin being a decentralized brand, you can do anything with it. And at that stage, there was really nothing out there, or nothing I was particularly impressed with when it came to fashion and art. It was still really early days, 2019, 2018. So we started doing these collections, limited edition runs with, some quite well-known people. Knut Spelholm is a really famous sort of Swedish chap who's created the Infinity Bitcoin Infinity. Is going to sort of absorb everything. We did a limited edition collection with him, 100 pieces, and we launched. We were one of the first companies in the world to put a streetwear collection on the blockchain. So in 2020, we worked with Zuby, who's a UK rapper, and we put 300 pieces, NFC chips in each piece, and we built our own app, which put the power of authenticity in the power of the collector essentially. And this was still a really new concept back then. Pairing in real life products or RWAs with the blockchain was really quite new. We launched it. It went really well. It was a proof of concept, and we wanted to test everything out, and people loved it. So on the back of that, we raised $500,000, and we then kind of focused our efforts on building out this entire kind of user flow. And we launched a brand called the Limited Inc. Ltd.inc, which was basically a digital studio based on Ethereum, because in 2020 Ethereum was the blockchain of that cycle, and adoption was really occurring there. and we couldn't do what we wanted to do on Bitcoin. It just didn't exist, and
Right.
I'm certainly not smart enough to kind of figure that one out. So we built everything on Ethereum. We launched our first collection. It took 18 months to build, and we launched our first collection in February 22 with Wrangler jeans and Leon Bridges, all focused around a bespoke one of one denim jacket and jeans. And then, yeah, went, success again, and then carried on sort of building out these, I'd say niche, high ticket price, low volume size collections, 50 pieces and around there. And we worked with sort of Skoda, Jeremy Booth, F. Dot, and just some really interesting creators in the space, Web 2, Web 3 friendly as well. So we work with some, big brands to help them step into the space and kind of really ease them into how they can apply their brand and product into the kind of Web3 space. I'll fast forward a bit, and that's limited ink. And so with our tech, we just had this interesting idea about how to deploy it into the sort of public domain. I'm a Bitcoin maxi at heart. I'm an ex Bitcoin maxi, or however, a closet Bitcoin maxi, if you want to call it that, as you said earlier, which I think is quite perfect. That's where my heart really lies, to be honest, and always has done, because I got into the space because of the foundations of crypto being decentralized and self-sovereign, and all the principles that kind of crypto relies on, spoke to me, and that's kind of what brought me here. So what I noticed with the space as it's been growing is self-sovereignty has been kind of like pushing down, disappearing in replacement for convenience. So the idea of onboarding the next billion people means, well, they can't download a wallet and learn their seed phrase because that's just too difficult. So let's just put that to the back. And you have all these kind of auto wallets that just open up, and no one really knows what self-sovereignty means. So Crypto Bags is our latest project, and it's kind of like a bit of a play on that whole fact that we built these physical, we call them crypto bags. They're kind of these, internet meme looking like internet artworks that are physical. We printed them. They have a wallet inside, and then we started putting them in the streets, basically. So it's like a decentralized crypto art project, a crypto street art project. And it just started with me basically printing these things out. I've got a background in manufacturing and the creation of these things. So I just dipped into my network and started making them myself, and started in Paris. I put 12 down in the city at first. And the idea is that we put these in the city, we launch them on our Twitter account, and then we put a riddle up so that people can kind of find them if they look hard enough. And then when they find them, they tap them, and that's our kind of digital tech in the background. And they solve the puzzle, which is the steps to basically download a wallet and go through a few questions and answers. Then they get access to the crypto that's embedded. So I was embedding my own Bitcoin and my own Ethereum onto these crypto bags and just basically hiding them in the streets. And that's kind of where we've become today. It started getting quite a lot of attention, and brands were saying, "Oh, this is actually a really interesting play. We would like to actually do this with you." And yeah, so that's why we were in Lisbon.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was an absolutely genius idea, just leveraging so many different trends. And I love the fact that you're using it to educate people. This is a
Yeah,
project that's, really giving back to the community to try to develop what everybody's trying to, everybody's goal is this mass adoption, right? We're trying to bring more people into crypto. And right now, we all know the UX UI, it's difficult. And you guys have found a really fun way to incorporate the gamification into the education, and there's rewards with it, right? Projects are sponsoring tokens, NFTs, all kinds of loot in these, and they got to go on a treasure hunt around a really cool city. In Lisbon, it was part of the conference there, and there's lots of the companies that were actually participating in the conference were also taking part with the crypto bags, whether supporting it or contributing or whatever that happens to be.
mm,
And people were going all over the city, all over the conference, finding these bags, and they're really cool. They look like kind of old school treasure bags, kind of like a runescapey kind of a vibe to them. But I thought it was genius, especially with the success of some of these games like Pokemon Go and things like that, kind of
exactly.
the AR, VR, getting people out, moving around and doing things. I thought it was absolutely brilliant concept, and just couldn't love more what you guys are doing. Tell me a bit more about transitioning from, a passion project into something that's now become where, you have essentially, sponsors that are promoting these bags, and you're working not just on your own Twitter page, but across a multitude of different brands and stuff. What was that like? I know it's not your first business, but how much of a
Hmm.
difference has that made, and kind of what was the experience there, making it a, full-on legitimate business?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think number one, I'm used to that. I actually started even the first business out of passion just by me tinkering around and kind of coming up with an idea that was interesting to me. And then I thought, well, hang on, this is probably commercial. There's a commercial element to this. Um, and so hence, let's try it out with someone bigger than me. Um, Crypto bags is a similar concept. I think for me it's definitely like there is a bit of like a conflict because one I can just do at my own leisure and I can go where I travel. I can just drop these off into different cities and choose my own
Right.
pace. Um, but then the idea of getting it out there in a bigger way and having more exposure to it and touching more people is obviously going to happen quicker and have more impact if I scale and connect with these brands. So I just learned to balance it, and I wherever I go I still drop my own anyway. So I have my own brand, well, not my branded Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we created a kind of we created a crypto bag branded bag as well so that we can now mix all these sponsors together if they choose. So I kind of like built it to cater to, I'd say, all of my needs and then any needs that a brand might have as well. And I don't know if you saw what we did in New York, for example, but before Lisbon, we'd actually customized an entire experience for Rect Drinks. So Rect Drinks is started by OSF, who's a big founder and artist on Ethereum. So he's
Okay.
behind Rect Guy. It's a big 10K collection, PFP collection. So he's a pretty big kind of operator. He saw what we did in Paris, me running around doing this. I put one in his hand and I said, dude, you should play with this if you like, because he's a founder. And he's like, oh, I love this. Should we do something in New York? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So we customized these kind of pixelated cans for him in New York, and I ran around and stuck them around the streets, did these riddles, and so kind of a white label solution. So I enjoy that as well. Like I like getting creative with the brand, and kind of crafting something specific, or just bringing them all together, and kind of increasing the level of loot that the people are going to get their hands on because that's just fun. In Lisbon,
That's fantastic.
we took Samsung to Lisbon as well, so we actually had quite a big client there as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know you're working with some conferences. Do you primarily just do this when you're working with different conferences, or like you said, are you still as you travel, putting these around, working with artists? Like how kind of does it work? Just whenever the you're inspired to go and tag up a city, or how does it work?
Kind of, but I would say no, I've definitely got more of a structured commercial hat on for this one. I mean, limiting was all commercial. That was business. I
Mhm.
have shareholders, and that was all about driving it forward and trying to make an impact on the space. This definitely is being driven by a commercial element too, and I've got my eyes on certain conferences, and I just try and space them enough that we can handle them for the capacity of our team and also the clients as well. So, we've got three really big projects on the pipeline. Samsung is one of them, thankfully. They really loved what we did in Lisbon, and you know, we're we're talking about doing quite a few things with them. They've got a really big space they're building in Luxembourg. Um, and then yeah, just a few other big brands. Can't say who, but some of the biggest Web3 brands
Sure.
out there. Some of the OG brands that again saw what we did in Lisbon. I managed to network while I was there, keep a couple with me, so I can always put one in people's hands. And most people are blown away when they see them because they're really well made. And I manufacture them, I pay for everything, and I give them away. All the sponsors do if it's commercial,
Mhm.
if I'm doing it for a brand. But they're like, from our experience in crafting these fidgetals with the tech, they're really well made. And the idea is that when someone finds them and take them off the wall, they don't just get the digital loop that's embedded. They actually get this kind of physical piece that they
Right.
can put on their wall, they can frame, they can put on their shelf, and each one has an edition number, which is then connected to a corresponding digital NFT. So my passion for my own sins, because it's actually more of a pain in the ass to create these physicals than it is just go fully digital. But for some reason, I love it. Um, I'm trying to craft a digital market. I think there's a huge space in disrupting the kind of StockX model where you don't need a middleman to verify the authenticity of of real world assets. And that primarily we focus on collectibles, art, and fashion. And I think these three, culture areas are really kind of prime for disrupting in the kind of technology that we're building. And obviously, there's a few brands after the same space, but we were certainly one of the first. We're still here doing it, and we're doing it in many different ways with lots of cool brands and artists. So yeah, really passionate.
Well, we'd love to work with you again in the future. I know we're as a team still trying to figure out if we're going to be at Bitcoin Nashville, and if we do, I know we've talked potentially about
Yep.
setting up another crypto bags treasure hunt there. I definitely will be trying to get my hands on one of those to add to my
Yeah,
content while back
that'd
in
be cool.
Vietnam. Yeah. Question though about this because it's kind of you're taking a how much of a risk is it when you're putting these up that some random person just takes it off the wall and doesn't scan it, has no idea? Is that crypto then just lost? Are the NFTs or anything embedded in there, are those lost? Or have you run into those issues in the past?
Yeah, well, personally, I don't call them an issue. Actually, I look at it as, and it has happened, and it was kind of a use case as well. So if this is the first onboarding experience for a newbie into the space, for me, that's my job done. Um, Now the brands don't mind either. We've been talking to Bonk. Bonk's a really big supporter of what we do. We're doing something with them as well. Um, they're the same. If somebody is walking down the street and they find this thing and it's got a Bonk brand or a Crypto Bags brand or Samsung and they tap it, I make them so easy to use. There's a little QR code that comes with them that then you scan that and that's the call to action. Then you learn how to
Mhm.
actually interact with the physical piece and then like extract everything. So it's like really so easy to use. So my point is, if that's somebody's first onboard experience, then that's an amazing first experience with crypto.
Right, mission
Um,
accomplished.
Win-win, right? So then they go home, they tell 10 people, they found this thing, they got crypto, they got $50 of Bitcoin. Cool. Keep it, spend it, dump it, whatever, that's yours. My job's done. So yeah, I don't mind. And it has happened, but it doesn't happen actually that often because so many people are hungry for these things that we put, I put them down somewhere, post it straight away on Twitter and literally 30 minutes, it's gone.
Wow.
I
Okay.
found,
How fast did
yeah,
I think you had the 14, 12 or 14 different bags at
yeah,
Lisbon? How many, yeah. How quick did
all
those
gone.
all get snatched up?
Oh, literally like some of them are 10 minutes. Yeah,
Wow.
really
I know a
quick.
few were around the conference, but I knew you had them spread out all over the city.
Yeah, exactly. I don't make it easy. I really try hard to, I put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure it's balanced well. It's not like, oh, no one's ever going to find it, but it's not too easy that everyone can just walk over and snap it up. So
Right.
it's quite. I try to be. Obviously, I'm using AI as well, thankfully, because I wouldn't be able to do it without my trusty
Right.
AI for the riddles, which is great. But yeah, even in New York, I went from Midtown, Soho, Wall Street, Brooklyn, um, literally every corner of New York and
Putting in
Brooklyn.
the
So
hours.
I did 3 days straight. Yeah, yeah, totally. I just took everyone on a wild ride, and still, 20 minutes I think it was, or an hour was the longest. 20 minutes was the shortest.
Wow.
It's so quick.
Wow.
And the more and more we do, the more followers we get, and the more competition there is for grabbing these things. And we're actually talking to a few devs as well, seeing as it's going so well, and talking about how we can bring in more digital collectors as well. So actually having a digital side to it at the same time. So for those who can't be there in real life, you've got some chance of grabbing and kind of getting involved as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from a retail perspective, it's pretty obvious the benefits of this for the projects that are watching this. What are the opportunities for them to get involved with crypto bags?
Yeah, so we have a really low barrier to entry. Literally, like you can just throw loot in one of our mix bags, and we shout you out throughout the entire experience. And then obviously somebody's then interacting with your product. Could be a meme coin, could be an NFT, could be a physical that comes with an NFT. So what we do is we embed the NFT in it, and then we collect their shipping address, and then you literally just ship over the physical piece. So there's really no limits to like what can be included. And then we do more customized experiences, so you can actually brand our crypto bags. So that means keeping the same shape, which is quite iconic and easily noticeable, but then you can just put your logo on it, which makes it really kind of engaging for your community. And that's a little bit more expensive, a little bit more involved in the manufacturing. Or we can go completely bespoke, white label. You are the kind of brand for that event. And the crypto bags are no longer our design, but they are completely your design. So I love the idea of, like, let's say working with Nike, or Supreme or whatever. And, there's a box of shoes with, a pixelated box of shoes with a couple of pairs of shoes
Hmm.
sitting in the streets. And that's kind of, imagine a Nike campaign. You've got to go
Yeah.
run around and find these box of shoes or these hoodies hanging in the street from Supreme or whatever it might be. So you can kind of like really get creative with it as a brand. And, there's no limits to what we can do physically or digitally. And that's what I kind of love. I like to get creative and, break new boundaries, really.
Yeah, I
Do
love
stuff we
that.
haven't
That's a
done
great way to
before.
put it. Yeah, it's a great way to put it, breaking boundaries, not only on the retail side, adopting new users into crypto, but you're bringing in traditional Web2 brands into Web3 as well. You've already talked about Samsung and some of these other brands that are kind of just starting to dip their toes in the water of crypto. And I think this is a fantastic opportunity for them. And like you said, easy barrier of entry to kind of start getting familiar with this and see what kind of onboarding they can get to start playing around in the Web3 space. What kind of experiences have you had working with, more traditional Web2 brands? What's the learning curve like for them coming into to Web3 via crypto bags?
Via crypto bags, I'd say it's very similar to limited ink. I've always had this kind of need for some tangible element to what we do, and limited ink was physical first always. So it was a relatively easy sell to like Wrangler and Skoda and a few other big brands that we brought in. And while it takes time because they come with the kind of Web2 corporate process, even like so the sovereignty part of it was it always a bit of a big problem when it comes to traditional
Sure.
brands because the legal side. And so we had to self custody actually, on behalf of Wrangler, for example. That's fine. We're flexible. We'll work to suit, for the good of the business and to get everything over the line. We'll do what we need to do to get it done. Um, Crypto bags is the same way. We're physical first, so people can literally touch these things and go, oh, cool, cool. Well, you make these. It looks like our brand, and then you go and put them in the street, and it's got crypto inside and NFTs. Okay, well, that's actually quite an easy concept to understand. The easy part, the other part as well, is with crypto bags, we've developed the tech further than limited ink, let's say, and you really don't need a wallet. So my first part of crypto bags was about self-sovereignty. You need to have a wallet to get the Bitcoin. Well, that's my passion. But obviously for the commercial side, they don't want that friction. So we developed, and that's what I've said when I said that we designed a crypto bag design, and I left my Bitcoin and my Ethereum ones alone. They're kind of like what I drop on my side as my own. I still put my stash in there, and I still go run around the city and put those out. But when I do a brands, I do it in a different way where you don't need a wallet to actually interact with them. So what you do is you just enter your email, you enter the wallet address when you have it, but otherwise you can just interact with it without having to get the crypto yet. And you just email us when you have the wallet, and then we airdrop you everything. So there's really
Okay.
like zero friction. And brands love that because they basically means they don't have any friction for onboarding anybody. They still get
Right.
to collect, let's say, the data and build this kind of community. And when someone's ready, because they've gone down that kind of education learning curve, and they say, "Oh, okay, right, I get it. I just got a wallet. Here it is. Please send me my loot that is due." So
Fantastic.
yeah.
Well, what's coming next? You've talked about a couple brands that you have in the pipeline that you're gonna be working with. Do you have any big events that you're planning on in the near future here that people can keep an eye out for to see if they can get their hands on one of these bags?
Yeah, well, I must say, no event locked in just yet. We've got three big events or brands that would end up taking us to the events essentially, but um, nothing locked in yet. So I've got nothing to report on. Just follow the Twitter account and stay tuned, basically. But if we do land the big ones that we're in discussions with, then it would be big time for us in August, September, and October, like those 3 months, which is kind of why I'm happy
Okay.
to be here in the south of France. I don't usually take a holiday. Like I probably haven't had a holiday for, I don't know, 10 years, to be honest with you, like where I haven't looked at my laptop. So I've switched off a bit because I know I've got a busy period coming up. And I think we've got three really big events coming up. So I'll be reporting more when I get the green light, basically.
Absolutely. Well, where can people find you on the social media, whether it's Twitter or Telegram? What's the best place to keep an eye on things with crypto bags for the next events coming up?
Yeah, we have a website which we keep up to date. I blog. I'm in an old school way. I like to blog. So cryptobags.xyz is our website, and then and it's S. No crypto bags with a Z or anything. It's all just crypto bags. And then crypto bags underscore XYZ is on Instagram and Twitter. So
Okay.
Twitter we use as a kind of channel. Twitter's where we update everything and where we release all the information about where a crypto bag might be or the events. Instagram's just a gallery, and go have a look there for some good visual chowder, and get inspired by
Yeah,
what we do and the fun we have. Basically, we post pictures of the food we eat on our scavenger hunts along the way. So it's kind of like a cultural, whatever city
nice.
we're in, we kind of throw a few extras in there.
Fantastic. Well, we'll make sure to link all of that below in the description, both on YouTube and Twitter, as well as in the Telegram when we send that out. And a big again, thank you for taking time out of your vacation. It sounds like it's a rare occasion for you to take time off. Really appreciate you hopping on here on Crypto Paradise
Of
with us
course.
today.
Yeah. No. Well, thank you. Lovely to chat. Thanks for
Likewise.
taking an interest, and yeah, look forward to working with you guys potentially in Nashville and onwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Any parting words, maybe for, the whole ethos of crypto bags is onboarding new users into crypto. Any words of wisdom for people starting out? Maybe their first experience of crypto is the crypto bags. Where do they go next?
Where do they go next? Learn about Bitcoin. Master Bitcoin first. It's where it all started. It is the creator of digital scarcity. It's what matters the most. Everything else, I've now learned there's obviously, and I never was like too maxi, but I would say there's obviously a place for all the other chains too. Some of them will die and go away, and they get too crazy on meme coins, even though we've all got bags of them. But just focus on Bitcoin, then spread out from there. You'll find what you love in the space because there's something for everyone. But if you don't understand Bitcoin, then you don't really get it, I don't think.
Absolutely. Well, words of wisdom from a man who's truly chased his passions and has led him to great success. Daryl, thanks again for coming on, man. I wish you all the best success in the future. I hope we can work with you guys again. And
Likewise.
yeah, thanks for being on Crypto Paradise today.
Thank you. Many thanks.
Cool. Well, that's it for us today, Paradise fam. And as always, remember, if it's not your keys, well, then it's not your crypto. So stay safe, you out there, because wag me, baby.